Okay, it's Monday morning. Big news, guys. Big fucking news. There are gonna be extra new Chun-Li costumes. I can't wait. Let's get home and make a video. Let's go, boys. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Born3 here. Very excited because we have a trailer which basically has like some of the second V triggers, not too much revealed except for the ending, which we're going to talk about. First of all, I want to hear from you down in the comments. Let me know what were your thoughts in regards to the trailer, Red Bull Battlegrounds, PSX coming up, anything. I don't care. I'm going to be interacting with you guys, so let's do that. Second thing is costumes. I was joking about that. Well, let's talk about that tomorrow. Let's make a separate video. So first up, first thing that is very important is I have to get this video done real quick because my football team is playing at 3 o'clock EST, so I have to get out of here. Second thing is the end of the trailer, I think, was the most important thing. It was the thing that people were most excited about and most interested in. They wanted to see, were we going to get that Sagat tease? And we did not get that Sagat tease. We got what looks like a Sakura tease instead, which is really cool, actually. I'm super excited about her. Super excited about her being in the game. Super excited about her interactions with Karine. Again, it sort of reinforces, I'm guessing a little bit here, but the idea of introducing Sakura and having Karine in the game sort of reinforces this idea of potentially there being some interesting story tidbits, maybe some small, maybe it's just part of the smaller story mode, but maybe there's a bigger general story mode. I don't know, just guessing. Now, the thing about the tease, if you don't already know, I'm sure you do, is that basically what they had is at the ending, they had these petals come down, and the petals are shaped, it was shown at Red Bull Battlegrounds, they were shaped like the Sakura plant. That's a pretty big hint, basically. So I think Sakura is coming. Plus, to be fair, in the popularity polls, she's right up there. She's sort of like number 2, I think, in Japan after Karine, if not number 1. So that's kind of interesting. Now, Ono also put out a tweet which had, you know, reinforcing that this is a hint with 2 pictures. Otherwise, they're just kind of random, to be perfectly honest. So that's kind of exciting. Also, in France, they tweeted out like this pixelated picture of Sodom, which was interesting. It's either like misinformation, which is, you know, fair at the moment. There's a lot of leaks going around, or so-called leaks, which could very well be just a lot of misinformation. If I was Capcom and I really wanted to hide the lineup, I would be putting out misinformation. I would just be doing that, right? Seeing Sodom on the French Capcom Twitter, and then seeing like the Sakura thing, and then, you know, thoughts about Sagat and so on, it makes you wonder whether they will actually this year, for once, actually reveal the full lineup of the DLC characters up front. There are different marketing strategies in that regard, pros and cons to it, but I think they have one shot this year to recapture new consumers, new players. So from a marketing perspective, it's like at PSX, they have to hit you like a fucking truck, right? And that would involve potentially, here are the 6 new characters as well. Just like, bam! I want everybody to buy this freaking game. We'll see what happens. Before we break down the actual trailer itself, one of the interesting things about the video was what was actually missing. So it was just a bunch of second V triggers, basically. What was missing, of course, was all of the things that I listed in my video. I'll put it up, I guess it's up here, which was sort of like my wish list of things for a Super Street Fighter 5 or an arcade edition version of Street Fighter 5. I had a feeling that they were going to save a lot for PSX because they're really going to be trying to get through the clutter and hit the media hard. I do believe that they did this at the end of Red Bull, less for us and more for Red Bull, because I think Red Bull went about thinking about everything that they could possibly deliver. And by the way, shout outs to Red Bull, you did an absolutely incredible job, really amazed by it. So some of the things that I'm really looking forward to figuring out once I actually, you know, once we actually finally get like a demo or whatever, is things like load times, you know, like Juna just uploaded a video I thought was really smart of him and Erika. They uploaded a video showing load times as he was actually playing the game in terms of switching from characters in training mode, which was really amazing. You could switch from characters really quickly. So I'm hoping that some of that is implemented in Street Fighter V Arcade Edition. Interested to know about extra gameplay mechanics. You know, what's going on with crush counters in neutral, what's going on with neutral, what's going on with whiff punishing potentially. You know, we go back to a couple of things. Andy Young talking about this idea that you would have to relearn your character, which to me said, oh, there's going to be more than just second V triggers. We go back to Ono's video where he said in the future there will be some extra gameplay stuff revealed. So I suspect there's I'm hoping there's a lot more to come. So we're going to go through the V triggers, but we don't know a lot about them. We don't know whether they're just one-offs or whether they are like a state, you know? So for instance, like Nash's current V trigger is a one-off, right? You hit it and it happens. Whereas, you know, you hit Akuma's V-trigger or Nakali's V-trigger and you are put into a state which lasts a lot longer. That's how I actually prefer V-triggers personally, but we'll take a look at what we've currently got. I'm not sure the V-triggers actually have a theme. They seem to be sort of a hodgepodge of different things and some reused assets as well, like Ryu's focus attack animation. But I do think that the best thing that they could possibly do in Arcade Edition is add an element of giving you the ability to customize and personalize your play style. You know, have the Sarko combo. You know, I've done a lot of interviews over this year, as many of you who support my channel probably have seen. A lot of the players have said, you know, some of these characters are very cookie cutter, like basically you know which combos you have to do, and you just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, and get a little bit boring. And you know, luckily I main Akuma, so I feel like that's not necessarily the case with Akuma. I feel like there's a lot of things that you can create with Akuma, you can style with Akuma. I'm hoping that some of the characters start to follow that. Also with the V-triggers, I think, you know, one of the strongest V-triggers or most interesting V-triggers to come out was Manat's, right? Now, it's very anime, but what's interesting about it is that you have the ability to do what you want with that V-trigger in the sense that you can create a lot of different types of combos with that V-trigger. And I think that would be a really cool standard to kind of follow in terms of V-trigger style. Okay, so let's break down the trailer real quick. A lot of other people have already done this and you've already seen it, so there's not a huge amount to say, but I'll add my piece. First, let's start with the Zeku second V-trigger. It says new V-triggers for all characters, right? And you have Zeku, he hits his V-trigger, zzz, and then he kicks upwards. He switches character into Strider. Just gonna call him Strider, fuck it. And he goes up in the air and does some crazy juggle. You don't get to see much more than that, to be honest. So it's a small amount of information, but basically it looks kind of flashy, and I think that was the whole point of this trailer, was to look kind of flashy. Next thing that we see is Ryu. Basically he hits his V-trigger and then he parries, and then he goes into a focus attack which makes you crumple. And then he carries on from there. It looks cool. His hands are all blue, which is very, you know, similar. The blue electricity is basically what we saw in the general story mode, which is where he had mastered the power of nothingness. Okay, next one is M. Bison. Grabs him by the head, he squeezes it, right? And you think, okay, he's doing some damage there, but then all of a sudden it cuts, right? So what has happened is I think he's implemented something, right? It's almost like he's gone, I just put something into your head. And then it seems like you then have to get into another combo, right? And then once you're in the combo, you can then activate this, right? Which is like the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life, where his head literally fucking explodes. And he flies up into the air. It kind of reminds me of Fist of the North Star, where he's like, you're already dead. You know, like imagine killing somebody that way. Imagine finishing off that way, where you're like, you implant that head thing and then you just fucking do that and you end the round. You're not even touching him, you just do that. It's like psycho power. That is psycho power, right? I love that. He moves straight into a that's the new name for his Psycho Crusher. So he basically juggles straight into a Psycho Crusher. It's pretty sick. I don't know how customizable that whole thing is, but it looks really cool. I hope it is. Next up is Nash, and it says new combo extenders. I don't know what that means. I don't know if this commercial is just full of just words that make us feel good about what we're seeing. That to me, like if somebody said new combo extenders, I'd be like, oh, we've got like a cancel or like an FADC or something like that, which enables us to like customize our combos. I mean, V triggers are combo extenders in many ways. So they always have been. So I don't know what new combo extenders mean. Does that just again mean new V triggers? I don't know. I don't totally understand that at all. I can stand here and pretend that I know, but I'm not going to do that. But we got Nash here, and he hits the V trigger, right? And then he dashes. He does this upside down kind of like kick. It looks a lot like Guile's flash kick. Then he dashes, a really long dash, comes up and down with some sort of ground pound, and then moves straight into his critical art. And of course, a lot of people have been saying, oh, he is, you know, his eye, his third eye, or whatever the hell you want to call that, is glowing. I think that's part of the V trigger. Then we see Ed. This one's kind of confusing. So basically, Ed is doing his thing. He moves into V trigger, and then he does medium punch. Then he does like the V skill, kind of. It's the V skill. He moves into the V skill, but then he carries on the combo. Then he goes into his flicker, I believe it's called. And then he goes into his critical art. So I honestly am not 100% sure what's going on there. Presumably that's some sort of state, which I'm hoping is not just a one-off and is something which allows him to extend combos, as they say. Like a mechanic which is almost like a cancel, almost like an FADC. So potentially some of these V-triggers are a little bit like that. They give you the ability to extend combos. The question is, are they one-off or are they, you know, a state, as it were? So your V-trigger allows you to do it, say, 3 times. Then we go into Mika. New mix-ups, they say. I don't know what to make of all of these words in these trailers. It's like they just keep saying new V-triggers, but with different words. But we'll see in the future. We will understand more. Mika, this is a fun one because it actually feels very similar to, you know, it's Nadashenko again. At this time she comes in with a chair and she hits her twice, actually, I believe. So I don't know, you know, if she hits her twice, it feels like there's an opportunity to maybe do something else in between the first hit and the second hit, which would refer to the new mix-ups, meaning that here's the first hit and then boom, gonna go do something else, and here's the second hit. I don't know, but it doesn't even seem like that's necessarily what you need to do. Next one is Birdie. Now this is what's interesting about this is Birdie hits the V trigger, but his actual V trigger has a hit property. So he hits you out of the air. It says new abilities. So again, these words, new abilities, I don't know what it means. I don't know what it means. Does that just mean, again, new V-trigger? But it looks like the actual activation of the V-trigger has a hit, which is interesting. And then, of course, he follows up with a headbutt, and then he uses his chain to pull you back in. Okay, next up is Ibuki. I don't know what to say about this one, guys. This one's hilarious. Just because of the size of the throwing star is ridiculous. She gets it mid-combo, she throws it out, it comes back. It kind of reminds me of Menat's orb in a way, as part of the combo sequence. It's kind of cool. Looks like it probably does a lot of damage. I don't know. Maybe it's a one-off. It looks like a one-off. Menat, it looks like, you know, it's kind of what I had been thinking about some of these V-triggers, is that maybe there would be like a complicated version and a less complicated version. This version looks like a less complicated version of what she already has, so you don't have to do all of that, you know, long-ass bullshit. I would guess that this will do less damage than the more complicated version, and they may buff the more complicated version, so it does more damage, but I guess we will see. Okay, so next up is Guile. It looks like they had a similar idea to his current V-trigger where he has multiple sonic booms. Instead he has multiple flash kicks. You will see that his feet actually have kind of like the rings around them, much like his hands had the rings around them before. You see him hit the V-trigger and then he does a bunch of flash kicks. By the end of that V-trigger, it's worth noting that he still has the rings around his feet, which would mean that you could probably do even more. A bit like, again, his original V-trigger with the sonic booms, that it's a state that he's in for a certain period of time. Ken comes up next. V-Trigger. During a juggle. Shinshu Yuriken. Ken players are super excited about that. They love that. They love it. It's pretty sick though. It goes up really, really high. It goes up like 3 stories or something. One of the things I noticed is the box artwork. Why is Akuma the big deal here? Again, you know, it's just me guessing, but it makes me wonder whether there's like maybe a short general story mode with Akuma in it. I don't know. But it's like you could easily have that front cover be all the different characters, but for some reason it's Akuma. And I can't tell whether that's actually going to be the final artwork, and maybe it is. Or if, you know, if they were to announce Sagat, then maybe Sagat would be there. I don't know. Okay guys, well that's it. That's kind of like my reaction, my response, my initial thoughts. I want to know your thoughts. Please leave them down in the comments. We'll do another video tomorrow about costumes, I think. And, you know, if you can, it would be great. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. Leave a like. That would be great. It really helps me out. And to my patrons, I want to say thank you for sticking with me. I'm going to start posting to Patreon now. We're gonna talk about some stuff in regards to upcoming videos and the channel and all that sort of stuff. So thank you very much indeed. All right, guys, peace out. Take it easy. Enjoy your Monday.